think let's talk about actors, right? So obviously, when we talk about any IT system or any platform in that sense, right? There are multiple actors. There are good actors. There are bad actors. So I think with respect to cybersecurity, what are those key actors in the ecosystem, and then what are the impacts, right? And how can they play a better role? Uh, who wants to go first, Kevin or Rolf?
Sure, sure, yeah. You mean the actors in a cyber criminal space? I mean, when you look to the history, and I was also in the past not a good guy, I would say, on the hacker side. Um, when I look to the motivation, right? What is the motivation of people who are trying to interact or to break into a system, whatever it is, right? Could be a digital uh, cryptography currency, or could be a normal system from an organization or government back-end information, whatever it is. But the motivation has been changed, right? And today we're talking really about not anymore about an organization like the mafia, where people do that just for money, or they taking the money on the from the people somehow. I think it's more government driven. So and and I have seen so many attacks, even in the espionage of industries or espionage of governments, where where governments are trying to hide themselves and trying to be another person or another organization. And at the end of the day, right, we have EDR and XDR systems. We can trace back, and we can see what kind of campaign and what kind of a major malware technology, because everything is modular, right? In the dark net, and you can populate very easy great malware with existing stuff together, and you will find really easy out. And that was also what we did. We analyzed the digital currency flow from people where we know they are in crime, right? And what they bought and what they sell with their currency. And we saw, even with that flow back, where come the attacks from which kind of organizations or governments came these attacks back. And this was also a great outcome, because so we see more and more governments all over the globe, right? Even governments who are not saying that are doing actively attacking other organizations or other governments, they are doing that because of the simple reason. It's all about the economy, right? People want um, to get leadership in a specific technology. And I have seen some insights from. I mean, I can talk to this because I was allowed to talk on this. I talked with the German NSA, which is the BND, the Bundesnachrichtendienst in Germany, about the attacks to the plants in Iran, to the atomic plants, right? So what was the motivation to break into that ecosystem from the Iran nuclear program, to to break down, yeah, those kind of facilities? And everybody thought, yeah, it was all about against Iran, because it's a bad country, it's a bad government, and they are not allowed to do some nuclear stuff, right? And that was the reason. No, it was not, because we figured out that George Bush in the 80s gave the program up to specifically hack Siemens plants. Siemens was involved in that part in Iran, to break into Siemens nuclear environments, um, not with the outcome to show the world, hey, Iran is bad. No, it was just about to say, look how bad Siemens is. Do you want to buy a nuclear plant from Siemens, really? no, you can break in. And that was the break-even point when the US went into the leadership back to um, to be um, to be the leader in nuclear plants. I'm not kidding you. That's the outcome of the German agencies here. And again, it's all about um, I don't know right now the English word, but it's really the pressure comes from, let's say, the government to support local interests of organization. And this is, I think, the biggest turnaround which I see in the past, where motivations of hackers and others went a little bit away, and they would go more into the government sector.
Right, Rolf. I think that's a very, very interesting piece of history with respect to how these politics and other dynamics work. I would want to now go to Jorg. Jorg, I think you have already have some experience with exposing bad actors, right? And I think you have faced some brunt as well. So, and obviously it takes a lot of courage to handle such things. So, can you please share your experience in terms of what kind of bad actors are there, and then what was your experience and how did it all pan out?
Yeah, we have several groups. We have the bad actors, as we said, then we have the actors of ethical hacks, and we have those guys who makes the work for hacking much easier. These are the guys who are going for getting a bounty to find problems. So, and another thing is the scam. So in this case, the bad actors always going for money, as Rolf was saying, and they have a financial interest in there or want to damage the reputation of someone. So or some company. So if I if I likely go to attack McAfee, it's not about the money from McAfee. It's more to attack the reputation of McAfee as a security software, for example, right? So if I'm going from an ethical hack, my purpose is totally different. In a world where we are in a digital transformation process and people can access data everywhere about a person, and we have systems which is not, I would say, for example, if you want my private key for doing custody, for example, your software has to ask me to send the private key credentials to work with them, not I have to leave my private keys at your side. So if this is an ethical point, for example, for people who are want to have privacy, yeah, and that is not anonymity, there is a good reason to remember the people that no system is really secure. So I do that to make a show out that for example you hack a government server or something like that for the purpose to show them, so what you have done to the people here is not fine, so we will call back. Okay, this is some kind of ethical. So for example, we had a hack which was costing $8 million to keep out $11 million. You see, it's not about the $11 million, because a guy who has $8 million to try a hack is not coming from a point as he's sophisticated about that all the stuff what it is. He comes from an ethical point. And the last group is at the moment the most dangerous thing we will see also growing and continue in this year, is that of scam. Scam is something. What will I reach? I will reach two things. I will damage the reputation of the people, and I want to get their bitcoins, for example. So I pretend a system where you can do mining, for example, and you can invest into the mining, and then you are in a trust and the belief that they have a mining farm, and you are in a cloud service, for example, for doing mining. So what happens after 2 years, they have more people in the system than the mining earnings can provide. What they will do, they take away the multi-level marketing scam out of that. And then they said, oh, we have some hash power problems. We can't follow up. We have to shut down our system. So the people invested into fake companies, into fake, deep fake profiles of people who are really not existing. And another point, what these always do, these guys, is they call people like, I would say, Andreas Antonopoulos, or they call people like John McAfee and say, did you know that this guy was talking with you and get your picture? So what happens is Twitter today is a good start to talking shitstorms against people. So you can have the brightest company running, you never will be have an acting in the crypto Twitter, for example, because we are in a copy and paste of information world. So if you can't hack a system, try to do a shitstorm on this system. That's the common. So Amazon has a shitstorm in the beginning of Amazon. So they were saying this is a fake company or whatever, and Amazon was one of the two companies stayed around that. So how can we avoid that the people going that way, because they want to fake, they want to scam, and they want to trust you to invest into questionable systems, for example. There's only one way. For example, if you have Ethereum or you have Bitcoin or whatever, in this world, we can access Block Explorer. So if someone is saying we transact this block and we have founded thousands of blocks, you can look for the Block Explorer. It's very easy to do. So you just go for Blockstream, type in a transaction ID or something like that, and you can see there is a working blockchain behind. Another thing is about that the way how they talk you is more that it is marketing than acting in a serious way to have a concept about what happens. So the first question is always, if someone is coming with a white paper and has a big good idea for you, is the first question should be, do you have a sandbox system? Every DLT system which is today working is tested in a sandbox. So even Hyperledger was before in a sandbox, and I can call the guys from them and can ask them, is this real what this guy is telling? Is there something like a blockchain or something like that? The problem in the ICO phase was we had a lot of ideas that people haven't got education. And the next point is education. So if you do education, for example, it is really necessary that you do an educational lesson, and this is the most important thing, educate yourself, that you have a trusted company, for example. If you have if you are on a course and you got the feeling this guy on the course will something selling to you, leave the course. That's exactly what it is. It's on you to get the knowledge today, which can prevent a lot of things, because the most problem in scams is you do not know to ask the right question because you do not have any informations. Yes, so the answers are always there, but if we do not know how to ask the right questions, we will never figuring out if we are on a scam or we are not on a scam. So this is leads into talks which you do not have a lot of time. If you are a victim of something like that, just ignore, because if you get too much attention about that, people distract from the topic you're talking about. Listen to the words, listen to the people. Like, for example, Rolf. I know Rolf only from a friend of mine, okay? So he could be a scammer or whatever. I do not know, okay? But we are on a cybersecurity conference. So I listen very carefully what he has to say. And what he is saying, that proves if he has an idea what he's talking about, that must, and if he has an idea, in my opinion, he must have some knowledge which is proven. Otherwise, the people will say on the conference, hey, what you're talking about there, guy? Go away. This is nothing. You haven't got any idea what you're talking about. So, and this is a difference. If I have knowledge, I show my knowledge and I measure the people on that, what they say and what is the knowledge behind. So everyone is talking to me. I'm looking up, is the knowledge he is presenting to me a real one, or is it something because he comes from a sales team, for example? And this is something we can easily prevent. Look what the people doing, where they are acting, and look what the topic is about they're talking. Yeah. If someone is talking and you're talking and talking, he's writing about the failure in your cooking, or he says you're a lousy musician. What has a musician to say in a cybersecurity conference, for example, right? So listen to the topics he's talking. Yeah, listen to the inventory of talks. Listen carefully if there is evidence in the talk, and then you can make your opinion. But scammers always distract you from the real topic, and then you invest in something what is not there. Yes, this is a way how you can act always on that.
Right. No, I think that's a very good thought process, and I think this is one of the challenges which blockchain industry as a whole faced, right? And this is where I think organizations like Government Blockchain Association, they play a very crucial role, right? Because the Government Blockchain Association is about knowledge, it's about awareness, and it's about helping public and government sector organizations to understand and adopt blockchain technology to solve the challenges that they have, right? And this is where we as an organization, we as a group of people, we have a lot of responsibility to ensure the messaging that we are sharing with our audience, right, in terms of what kind of scams are there, what kind of cybersecurity issues are there, and how can common sense prevail, and how can a lot of these challenges and scams can be avoided.